and a score of 71.125. 71.125, Genesis. In 20th place and a score of 72.8. 72.8, Oregon Crusaders. In 19th place and a score of 73.725. 73.725, Music City. In 18th place and a score of 76.325. 76.325, Pacific Crest. In 17th place and a score of 78.113. 78.113, Troopers. 16th place and a score of 79.3. 79.3, Madison Scouts. In 15th place and a score of 80.325. 80.325, Colts. In 14th place and a score of 81.5. 81.5, the Academy. In 13th place and a score of 83.163. 83.163, Spirit of Atlanta. In 12th place and a score of 83.763. 83.763, Crossman. In 11th place and a score of 84.55. 84.55, Mandarins. In 10th place and a score of 84.65. 84.65, Phantom Regiment. In 9th place and a score of 85.925. 85.925, Blue Knights. 8th place and a score of 86.25. 86.25, Blue Stars. 7th place and a score of 87.488. 87.488, the Cadets. In 6th place and a score of 89.925. 89.925, the Cavaliers. In 5th place and a score of 89.95. 89.95, Boston Crusaders. In 4th place and a score of 91.525. 91.525, Carolina Crown. In 3rd place and a score of 92.775. 92.775, Blue Coats. In 2nd place and a score of 93.25. 93.25, Blue Devils. In 1st place and a score of 93.675. 93.675, Santa Clara Vanguard. Come feel the music as the world's most elite marching music ensembles take the field during the exciting conclusion of Drum Corps International's 2018 Summer Tour. The DCI World Championships kick off with the open class prelims in Michigan City, Indiana on Monday, August 6th, and conclude in Indianapolis on Saturday, August 11th. You can learn more online at dci.org. And if you can't make it to the stadium, it's big, it's loud, and it's live. Drum Corps International returns to the big screen, bringing the 2018 World Championships prelims to select movie theaters across the country on Thursday, August 9th. Visit fathomevents.com to find the theater near you. And remember to check out FloMarching.com for a list of upcoming live webcasts of select 2018 DCI Tour events that you won't want to miss. Again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for spending your day with us. We're glad you were here. Please drive carefully going home, and good night.
And that's it, my boy.
Kevin Stahl. If you can hear me, please come to the announcer's table on the field.
Welcome back to Austin in the FloMarching studios for the Taking the Field post-show edition. I'm Emily Tannert-Patterson, and I'm joined in the studio again by Daniel Montoya. Daniel, it was a super full day of drum corps, wasn't it?
That it was, Emily.
So let's jump straight into the scores. For the folks at home, we'll have them up on your screen. There's the top 10, Daniel. But before that, we have to talk about 12 and 13. Crossman at 83.763. Spirit only 0.6 away, 83.163. So it's still a race for 12th, just like we thought.
Absolutely. Wow, it's a hard knock life for Spirit. They had a great show, and they're right there knocking on the door to finals. And so I don't think that X-Men can rest on their laurels at any point. Spirit sees the door. They have the key in their hand. They just need to see if that key will work all the way till next Saturday night. But Spirit, yeah, they're on you, Crossman. So, yeah, do it.
Excellent.
Excellent?
I'm not sure you could have squeezed any more puns in there, Daniel.
Give me some more time.
Maybe not. All right. And right behind Phantom is Mandarins, still hot on their tails, only 1/10 back. Mandarins scored an 84.55 tonight. Phantom sitting at 84.65. So Mandarins haven't cleared that hurdle yet, but still a very tight race for that 10th place spot.
Yes, absolutely. Same thing with Spirit and Crossman. I think Mandarins they see what they need to do, and Phantom, well, Mandarins have probably never been closer to them in their rearview mirror. It's like that scene in Jurassic Park, so they either better step on the gas or they're going to get eaten up.
Absolutely. All right, so what else do we see interesting in these top 10 scores, Daniel?
Well, we see that Boston Crusaders placed above Cavaliers by 0.025.
Ooh,
so
that's
now,
tight.
Seriously, it could be tighter. I'm not sure. I don't know how scores work these days. But Boston now solid 5th, Cavaliers in 6th. And then there's a pretty sizable gap, perhaps.
There's a substantial.
Yeah, but then...
do you think a beast ripped open that gap?
Oh.
No, I'm sorry.
Yes,
No?
yes,
No?
we'll say that.
Okay.
We'll say that. But then you look at the top 3, and that's less than a point between first place and third place. So while we feel that Santa Clara is firmly in first, it doesn't mean that Blue Devils or Blue Coats are out of it at this point.
Yeah, so maybe less firmly in first than we thought, or you know.
You can't ever count out the Blue Devils. They know
Absolutely.
how to close,
Yep.
and you know they ran up against the Blue Coats, had some trouble, ran up against Santa Clara, had some trouble, and they know what they're doing. So just to lose 1 or 2 shows doesn't mean they're out of the game. So these performers, these design team, they know what it takes to finish out. There's a lot of time left, and so nobody should be safe where they're at. Right now, everything seems like it can change from night to night.
Absolutely. Well, and each of these corps that are at the top, I mean, BD beat SCV several times on the West Coast early on. And then, of course, the Bluecoats had the highest score in DCI for 3 or 4 weeks at the beginning of the year. So all of these drum corps have had that taste of success. And these young performers, that's what they want. That's what they're there for. That's why they're auditioning into these top corps and sweating in the sun every single day. So, yeah, as you said, can't count anybody out. So let's take a look at all of the different corps. Let's start off with Spirit of Atlanta. I hope you saved a few puns for us, Daniel. Hometown team in their hometown dome.
Yeah, they really came in, rang the bell for the crowd, and they made sure to really lock in a solid performance for the crowd. It's been a huge improvement for this corps over the last few years, as we discussed earlier, and it just looks and sounds like the organization is stable. The kids are really enjoying it. They're feeding off of the excitement of people all over that are just enjoying the performance and really giving you that spirit is back kind of thing. But yeah, they're just, they've got their fists on the door and they're pounding and they're saying, let me into DCI finals.
Could you say that they're giving a spirited performance?
I will allow that one.
All right. And then, of course, cadets. Next up in our conversation, the Unity Project. We talked last week about the famed Z poll that they finally put in. And we're continuing to see this corps make small refinements week to week. Absolutely.
And if you didn't catch it at the very beginning, sort of in their pre-show, they actually lied down in the form of the old Garfield G, which to my eyes was brand new for this show. Could have been earlier, I don't know, but that was in there, and their use of the vocalist and their really innovative uniforms for that organization, and I think for any organization, I really like the way those uniforms pop. I think they're awesome. I think it's cool. And so cadets, while they're lower than maybe where they're used to being, they're still pushing, they're still changing, they're still refining, and they're not out of the hunt yet either. They could climb up a spot or two, just depending on how this next week and a half goes.
Blue Knights. How do you like this show? I like the music in this show a whole lot. This is, you know, I'm partial to the Rite of Spring, but I think they do it particularly well.
Absolutely. Rite of Spring is a masterwork, and they've put their own little touch on it, but it's not too much chopped and screwed, mixed and mashed, blended up that is so popular these days. But you know it's Rite of Spring. They've got some fantastic soloists. They have power in their horn line, and they've been one of the more innovative groups in the last few years, and they are very much their own identity, and they're sticking with it, and they're performing it quite well also.
You know, I'm not making a competitive suggestion here, but given that they're doing a version of the Rite of Spring, and that Mandarins are doing life right after. It's too bad we'll never see, or we most likely will not see Blue Knights and then Mandarins in the schedule, because that would make for quite the doubleheader.
If whoever is randomly drawing performance order, let's get that one going, just so that just for the commentary purposes.
You know,
that would be
absolutely.
great. Yeah, sure.
All right, Blue Stars. This has been a popular show, and it's definitely a different flavor than what we're seeing throughout a lot of the rest of the top 10.
Absolutely. You could just show a picture of them and you can tell why it's different. The fact that the uniforms are already not traditional, but with their faux Timberlands on their feet and with the tool belts and just the staging of it all, it's very much a production. It's very much everything is touched by design. I mean, as you can see right now, they have tool boxes, tool chests. I mean, everything is completely in. It's in character from the start to the finish, and it's a fun show, and the music is very new and innovative for the activity, so good for them.
I'm sure there will be a heck of a fire sale on those tool chests at the end of the season. So
either that or every trailer and prop that is broken is going to be wheeled to them, and they're going to ask them to fix it.
Absolutely. That would be fun. Open their own mobile repair unit for corps in need, much like, you know, the brass repair units. You know, Blue Stars, call Daniel. He's got an excellent idea for a fundraiser right there, I think.
Absolutely. Sure. I promise I'll only take 8%.
Only.
Yeah.
All right, Cavaliers, the Green Machine. You know, this is also from a music point of view. Bolero is classic, and they're doing such interesting things with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, the mixing of the music, you have the bolero, and then you hear the little electronic snippets of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, which is the core song, and then just the other tunes that they've mixed in together electronically as well as acoustically. It's a really exciting show, and I really liked the end, how the themes are moving into each other and coming out of each other. It's loud, it's bright, it's flashy, it's flamboyant at the end, with the singing all mixed together. It's just kind of a happy show, even though it starts a little dark. It just ends happy and bright. All things shiny and shimmery, right?
Just like most wasting brain diseases.
I guess so. Yeah, we'll go with that one.
Well, my favorite part of this show, of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the marching xylophone line.
Yes. Oh, isn't that fantastic?
And well, and now that we brought it up, I appreciate that it's not done in a super kitschy way. Those guys can definitely play, and they're integrated into the music in a way that is both flashy but effective. And
it's one less thing for the old guys to complain about on the internet. They brought back the marching xylophones. What else do you want?
You're not wrong.
Well, they can take away 2 valves, whatever. Electronics aren't going away, sorry.
As long as we don't bring back the marching timpani, I think that...
I'm sure they probably, that's the finals week surprise, isn't it?
Ooh, Cavaliers, you heard it right here. All right, BD. Looks like they maybe, I'm not sure that these props have been out on the field before, these maps of New York.
Yeah, those were cool, and you pointed them out, and I was like, oh yeah, you're right. Now, it could have been at San Antonio, could have been last night. I didn't see them last night because we weren't streaming that. But yeah, and there might have been some tweaks to the ending as well. They're just, like we mentioned earlier, that team, I don't think they've sweat at all this year. When they get beat, they're like, we'll get it, we'll fix it. I imagine every performer, every designer, every teacher is just like, it's Saturday, we have 2 weeks till finals. That's more than enough time to completely change our show and make it really good and win. So yeah, good for them, because they're masters, they know how to close. They're just the closers, the close devils. The blue closers? Nope, sorry, I lost it. I'm done.
Well, I hope you're not done, because we got a few more cores to talk about.
Oh, well,
okay, of course, blue coats and their chairs.
They're big chairs.
There's a lot of chairs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we saw tonight the chairs have purple bottoms.
Yeah, they're awesome. And I noticed this, but I don't know if they had this at the very beginning of the year, the sort of white and black stickers that are on the side of the chairs. I'm sure that came about sometime this year. But once again, it's so full of energy. Even the quote-unquote down moments, the ballad, the God Bless the Child, it's just, everything is high octane, maxed out, and it's so, so good. And this stadium is huge. This arguably could be the biggest stadium they play in, and these chairs look right at home in that mammoth dome of Atlanta. So good for them.
And it's interesting that we have somewhat of a jazz show with BD and then somewhat of a jazz show with Blue Coats, but they are not anything alike.
I don't even like jazz. I couldn't even tell you about the jazz. The jazz is not my son, but I do enjoy what Blue Coats are doing, and I enjoy what the Blue Devils are doing. They're so well performed, you can't help but get excited about what the shows are.
And very distinctive. Hesitate to use the word flavor again, but very, very distinctive sort of aura that they leave you with.
Absolutely, and they have 2 distinct sounds. It just, you could not compare them and say they're alike in a number of ways, even though, like you said, they're doing similar things. They're just, they're both just so good.
Kiwis and mangoes?
Apples and sparkle.
Apples and sparkle, you heard it right here. All right, so we saw some new endings tonight. It is that time of year, that the drum corps are making some changes. The first edition, we got the new ending last weekend, but we had a new sparkle on the new ending with Boston this week, or should I say a new wave with the new ending from Boston this week.
That's a hip reference to say waves. The kids say waves these days.
Is that right?
They do. They do.
I don't know these things. So not only did we get some closure, because for a long time we were seeing Lost in the back. This year, last week we added Found, and now, as we see here in this footage, we've added these huge pieces of fabric, creating waves, and the students are just washing away.
Yep, and then you're left with the color guard lying on the floor to finish out the BAC was here. It's just, it's been a wonderful year for Boston, and you compare it to last year as well, and the Crusaders have been making waves in DCI, and now they've been saved, I'm assuming.
Well, saved or drowned? We're gonna.
We'll
hope for
find out.
saved.
Well, either way, they're saved, probably.
Was that another Catholic reference, Daniel? All right, moving right along before this devolves any further. Carolina Crown, not necessarily a new ending, but some new additions with the beast flags, cloth props. What do you call those, Daniel?
I would call them air tarps.
Air tarps.
You might call them flags, but I don't know that they're flags. There's a giant beast. The beast has arrived.
Yeah, and this is very effective to help kind of wrap the whole thing up. Just to remind us again why we're here and why we're watching them and what they're showing us. So I thought that was, just a really great way to tie the ribbon.
Yeah, they've got the bookend of the opening where those members are forming their beasts, and then they show it again with the giant tarps. And so good for them to, hey, we're the beast. We're here. Let us in.
Ripping their way into the top three.
Tearing their way into the top three.
There we
Clawing.
go.
Yeah.
Clawing.
Well,
Clawing their way up the ranks.
we'll fix that in post.
All right, and then of course, SCV showed us some new stuff. This was the FloMarching debut of the new SCV ending, as if they needed anything else to set them apart from the rest of the pack.
Yeah, people on the internet are referring to it as the mellow sustain ending, and if you didn't hear it, you should go hear it, and you'll know why instantly as all the mellophones pop up on this stage, and you can even see on the faces some of them looking like you're about to get hit over the face with, look, the kid right there, he just nodded at us and goes, you're about to get hit with this long, perfectly in tune, loud sustain note. J.D. Shaw's chords bouncing back and forth. It's just like, it's fantastic. To me, it's perfect. It's wonderful. Good for them. Oh.
So I'm sure we're not done yet. Do you think any other corps have any more tricks up their sleeves?
I can't imagine that they wouldn't. They have a big show tomorrow night, the night beat, and then they have another big show next Friday and Saturday, and then they have a few more days before it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So surely there are little nuances to be added, some subtleties. At this bout time, we saw the fire erupt from Boston, so we're going to see something new. Somebody's got to have one more thing saved, and I can't imagine what it's going to be because so far everyone's been unloading their bag of tricks. So we'll see who's going to carrot top and just pull it out and throw it at us. I'm ready.
So you want to lay any bets on who might be the next to debut their new ending?
Oh, I'm going to say Cavaliers.
That's where I was
I think
going
Cavaliers
as well.
have something left to give us. It's already a loud and fun ending, but I really think there's something left that's going to tie it all together and gift wrap it and give it to us, and I'm ready for it.
All right. Well, we opened the polls again for you to hear from you, our viewers, as to your favorite show. Daniel, we're both drummers, so shall we? Drum
sure.
roll, please. This week's FloMarching fan favorite, again, it's Music City.
Wow.
They have a lot of fans this year.
They certainly do.
Way
yeah.
to go, almost hometown team. I'm going to claim them since I'm from Tennessee, even though it's
the South. Yeah, apparently the South is rising again. Music City.
absolutely and the old South, not the deep South.
Correct.
Tennessee
yes.
is the old South.
Yeah, they got good barbecue there.
Well, thank you. Coming from a Texan, that means a lot.
I said they have good barbecue. I'm just kidding.
All right. Let's take a look. FloMarching will be back with you tomorrow for the Night Beat show. Let's take a look at that schedule. We will have Taking the Field both before and after the show. So Taking the Field will go live somewhere around 30 minutes before the show. Of course, we always start DCI shows with the national anthem. And tomorrow night, you'll get to see Phantom, Cadets, Cavaliers, Crusaders, Santa Clara Vanguard, Bluecoats, Blue Devils, and Carolina Crown. So that's a pretty awesome lineup for anyone who's either live in person or watching the stream.
Absolutely, and what's always interesting is the performance order. Right now, your champion, as of the last 2 or 3 shows, the Vanguard, are going on 4th to last, followed by the Bluecoats, then the Blue Devils. So you have the top 3 in a different order, and Crown actually closes the show. So it'll be really interesting to see how the scores go around tomorrow night, because as we've been saying, the scores are so close that on any given night, someone else could pop up and creep up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Daniel, it's been a lot of fun having you in the studio. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
It's been very punny. Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate you taking the punishment.
And then thanks to all of you at home for sticking in there with us. It's been a long day of drum corps. We hope to see you back here tomorrow. Thanks so much. Have a great night.